TLC pay-per-view provided us with some pleasant surprises, and all in all, it was a solid pay-per-view. Finn Balor managed to get a tidy win over the Scottish Psychopath, and Mysterio managed to get a roll-up victory on the Viper. But along the way, there were some minor goofs and mistakes. Look, we're not trying to be wrestling's resident curmudgeon. That spot is saved for Dave Meltzer, so we're trying to be a little bit more positive in this video, so we're also going to include some things you might have missed. So, let's waste no further time and get into number 1. R-Truth STYLIN, but not PROFLIN. The opening match on the main show of this year's TLC pay-per-view featured the poorly hyped final of Season 2's Mixed Match Challenge series between the teams of R-Truth and Carmella, aka The Fabulous Truth, and Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox, aka Mahalisha. Just before the match, we were surprised to learn that the winner would not only be awarded with the number 30 spot in each respective Rumble, but they will also get an all-paid vacation to whichever part of the world they choose. Now, it was later revealed that the choice was WWE's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Look, there was no error, but we just thought we'd mention this for reasons. Anyway, the match was for the most part mediocre. However, this bout saw a strange looking finish. First, R-Truth would steal Alicia Fox's M. Bison style hat, and though the spot flopped as the hat had a mind of its own, flying off Truth's cranium and taking a walk, it probably mirrored the actions of the crowd, who were in a comatose by the match itself. Listen, we're taking nothing away from Truth. He's approaching 50 and he can still go. But following this, within a couple of seconds of this minor botch, Truth would attempt to go for a bottom rope springboard kick through the ropes, but it landed nowhere near his target, that being Jinder's face. Number 2. Mike Chioda gets busted open. When you watch a pay-per-view that involves the dangers of ladders, tables and chairs, it's clear that you would expect some exciting spots. It could be an opponent going through a table, jumping off the top of a ladder, or even the rare appearance of blood. This year's edition actually included blood, but unconventionally, it was found to be on a referee, as WWE's veteran referee Mike Chioda managed to get some colour on his forearm. It's unclear what actually caused this, but it was apparent that he was struggling to ignore it as it continued to irritate him through the triple threat tag match. Number 3. Jimmy Uso flops out of the ring. The second match on the card would feature the teams of the New Day, the Usos and SmackDown's reigning tag champions The Bar in a triple threat tag match. The match was solid, featuring some unique spots and cohesive tag team action, and it was a great way to correct the start of the show after the Mixed Match Challenge final managed to put the crowd to sleep. However, even the pros couldn't avoid a bit of sloppy ring work. During the closing half of the match, Xavier Woods would attempt to throw Jimmy Uso out onto the outside of the ring. Seemed simple enough until you might have noticed that Woods completely lost his grip of Jimmy, causing the Samoan to spill out of the ring sloppily, nearly landing on his head in the process. Number 4. Mr. Beast is still doing his job right. The contest between Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman began with Corbin announcing that if Braun doesn't come out within 10 seconds, he will have no other option but to declare the match a forfeit. Eager at the idea that Corbin was just seconds away from becoming Raw's permanent general manager, his smile quickly turned to a concerned frown when Braun's music hit and he showed up. After Braun came out, he was quick to remind Corbin that the match has a TLC stipulation, and that means no DQ, thus he can have help from anyone he chooses. Slowly but surely, a number of babyface talent emerged armed with chairs and ready to attack the vulnerable, at this point still acting GM. All got involved, putting down the unfavourable GM. Chair shots and even Balor hitting the coup de grace were all used to ensure that the monster among men grabbed the victory. During this segment, we were surprised to see the return of full-time GM Kurt Angle, as he finally returned from his vacation, presumably back from the same dream vacation that R-Truth is now heading to as we speak. But even though Corbin now thankfully has no power on the red brand anymore and has been relieved of his duties, you might have missed a cheeky little sign in the background as Angle came out, and it's something that has nothing to do with wrestling or WWE at all. As the crowd screamed "You suck," cameras pointed to them as the Olympic gold medalist made his way down to the stage. However, the cameras would zoom out from a sign that read "Subscribe to PewDiePie." If you're not familiar with what's going on in the YouTube world, PewDiePie has yet to be dethroned from being the most subscribed channel on the site. But coming up the rear is Indian music and film channel T-Series, and now with the help of fellow YouTuber Mr. Beast, he has made it his sole mission to make sure that the Swedish sensation is never overtaken, and urges those who haven't subscribed to do so. It seems that a fellow Legion was in the crowd doing his job. Number 5. Ruby Riott attempts a roll-up in a tables match. Table matches. There have been a good few in the WWE, and the aim is simple. Just put your opponent through a table and you win. It's the only stipulation to win, as there's no countouts, DQs or pinfalls. But it seems that Ruby Riott didn't get the memo for this one, as she reversed a suplex into a roll-up, attempting to steal the victory. Now, we'll let her off for this one, as it was her first ever tables match in the WWE, and it was probably just out of habit. Number 6. A bamboozled Renee Young. It's often been said that throughout life, and especially throughout professional wrestling, that in situations of size or power, the saying goes, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog that matters. Well, during the matchup that saw Nia Jax challenge Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship, Renee Young got a little confused, as she claimed, it's not the fight in the dog, it's the size of the dog. Needless to say, the bigger dog came out with the loss. Number 7. Nia Jax is lacking a bit of power. Another slip-up that would transpire during this bout would arise from the fan named Botch Machine Nia Jax. During the match, Ronda would go for a high-risk, high-reward approach as she attempted a crossbody from the top rope. The plan here was for Jax to reverse this, picking up Rousey and delivering a power slam. However, Nia would first struggle to actually roll over, and then couldn't even pick up Ronda when she first tried, something that you wouldn't expect from the so-called irresistible force. Number 8. Boston Crab fail. Up until this point, the show was average, but the contest for the WWE Championship that featured AJ Styles and the new Daniel Bryan would be the match of the night so far. This was a great bout, but the sloppy Styles somehow made a brief presence in this match too, specifically when AJ went on to make an attempt at a Boston Crab. Not only was Styles struggling to lock in the submission, but when he made his actual attempt, he just fell back. Eventually he would lock it in, but despite Bryan's godly selling, Bryan would grab the victory with a small package. While he hilariously carries on the name Mr. Small Package, it was admittedly a disappointing finish to one of the best matches of the night. Number 9. Charlotte lands on her arse. The final pay-per-view of this year saw the first ever Women's Triple Threat TLC match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, deservedly headlining the pay-per-view. This was a brutal bout from the get-go, and the spots the women endured rightfully received massive pops from the crowd. As one of the main storylines on the Blue brand right now, it was great to see yet another incredible match from the SmackDown Women's division. However, not only did Charlotte Flair fail in recapturing the championship, she would also botch the simplest of kicks. Flair had the idea of delivering a kick to Asuka to send her to the outside of the ring. However, she ended up embarrassing herself as she slipped and landed right on her ass, but this was nothing compared to the next bump she took. And number 10. Censored reactions. As we mentioned just moments ago, this match featured a number of unforgettable spots and was deemed the best match on the card. Though in the process, WWE needed to erase some of the reactions after a brutal bump or two. One of which was when Becky Lynch, who managed to neatly place both Asuka and Charlotte on the announcer's table, climbed the 12-foot ladder to deliver somewhat of a splash through it. By the skin of her teeth, Asuka managed to roll out of the way, and after doing so, she reportedly shouted, "F this shit," but WWE managed to censor it in time. Charlotte would take one of the most painful bumps of the night when Becky misjudged the landing and all her weight landed on Flair's ribs, almost breaking them and leaving Charlotte in excruciating pain. It was a miracle to see Flair back up in such a short period of time and even escape without any immediate sign of injury. Well guys, that was 10 errors or things you might have missed from WWE's TLC 2018 pay-per-view. Did we miss anything out? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.